Hey guys, it's time for Gary's Good News Only here on February 26th. And we got lots of good news to go over, so let me jump into it. I've been spending a lot of time on COVID recently, and we're going to continue to do so today because there's just such great news on COVID. But before there is one piece of real estate news, new home sales jumped 4.3% in January versus a 0.9% expected jump. And that's by CNBC News. So that's very good. A lot of this stuff I mentioned in my podcast, which if you haven't listened to my podcast this week, I highly recommend it. It was a great episode. We talked about how your brokerage and closing attorneys might be hurting your business instead of helping them. So I think it's a good listen for everybody. But in that podcast last week, we talked about how cases are down 77% over the last 6 weeks. I think it's even more now. And the question is, so why are we getting to that number? Why are numbers plummeting faster than anyone ever expected? And what we found is that there is an author who is Dr. Mitch McCary, M-A-K-A-R-Y. He's a professor at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine and the Bloomberg School of Public Health. He's a chief medical advisor for Sesame Care. The thing about McCary and Johns Hopkins is all of the information you get about COVID comes from Johns Hopkins. It's one of the probably the number one university in the entire world for medicine. And this is where all the information about COVID and numbers come from. So this guy is legit. He says that in large part what's happening and the reason the numbers are going down is because he believes we are hitting natural immunity from the prior infections. He says that testing is only capturing about 10 to 25% of infections, and that when you look at the virus and apply what they call a case captured average time weighted of 1 in 6.5 people. It's a weird mathematical thing, but basically what it means is that with the 28 million confirmed cases, now we believe that there's probably about 55% of Americans have already got natural immunity, either through having it, being exposed, and having it with no symptoms. The Food and Drug Commissioner, Scott Gottlieb, estimates that 250 million doses will have been delivered of the vaccine by the end of March to 150 million people. So what they believe is that we're racing as a country to an extremely low level of infection. And he says that as more people have been infected, most are having mild to no symptoms. There are fewer Americans left to be infected. And at this current trajectory, what he is saying is he expects COVID to be gone by the end of April. Yes, you heard that right. The end of April. And he said it should allow Americans to go back to normal life. So what this McCary believes is that we are getting to a point where that we have such a herd immunity and natural immunity to this that the virus is just going to go away. And if you look back at the history of the Spanish flu, it was around for over a year and a half, and then it had a huge surge at the end. And when it surged at the end, it just went away like very quickly afterwards. So if we're going to do the same thing as the Spanish flu, maybe we might just get lucky and this thing will all go away. So we'll keep our fingers crossed there. So anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. If you need your continuing education, don't forget to go to blaircato.com and click on the resource button. You'll see all the classes we have coming up through CCRA. You can take them whether you're a CCRA member or not. And we have the core class, the ethics class, as well as the BIC class coming up. So y'all be sure to take a look at that. Hope everybody has a great weekend.